Stephen, I ran into a problem.
What do you mean?
I think I ran out of ideas.
Do you know what this means?
It's time for a clip show. Hello and welcome to another episode of Is It Broke? Is It Fixable? Or Just Plain Durable? Apparently there have been some comments in the peanut gallery about the fact that we don't actually fix things on our program. So look forward to that at a later date. But we thought for this episode we would do a recap of some of our episodes from the past, as we've been filming for a while now. One of our first videos was the CED. Let's take a look at our first episode, the CED. Something was a little different about that episode. Oh, that's right, I was clean shaven in that episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Is It Broke? Is It Fixable? Or Just Plain Durable? Today, we're going to talk about the CED player. You may say to yourself, what in tarnation is a CED player? Well, I'm glad you asked. It stands for Capacitance Electronic Disc Player. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, I still don't know what that means. Well, let's delve into it a little further. We stick the disc in. It loads itself, and then you pull it back out. Forgot to mention that the difference between the color in the discs is blue is stereo and white means non-stereo. You also have a rapid rewind and fast forward feature, as well as a frame by frame. Now, I told you about the different audio formats. This is the disc that does that. When you push audio A and B, we're listening to English right now, and now we're listening to Spanish. Another one of the downfalls of this format was you can't record on it. It only has the movie itself on it. The movies were also very pricey, so most people couldn't afford them, so they would rent both the player and the movie to watch the movie. These stylists, since they're cleaning the records, have a tendency to get dirty, and then you have to either clean them by hand or send them to someone who can clean them or put a new diamond on the stylus. Our second video was on the 8-track. It certainly has its pros and cons and it's a very unique format. Let's take a look, shall we? I have here Johnny Cash, Any Old Wind That Blows. The tape works quite well, actually. I may have repaired it at some point. But let's get a closer look at the tape. Since I've had this one apart before, I can do that. So the tapes themselves are 1/4 inch wide. It runs at 3.75 inches per second. They used an endless loop design, meaning it just keeps going and going and going. Now this particular player is only a monorail model.
And then to switch tracks, we do this. You can actually see the number there on the player. This is called the plunger model. Hello? Yes? No, I'm afraid you've got the wrong number. We are currently experiencing thunderstorms here, and the quality of this transmission may not be that great. Hold on, I have a call on another line. Hello? Yes? No? That's correct. And of course, who could forget our Color TV episode? Our most viewed episode, with the 8-track episode coming in as our second most viewed episode. Color TV is so fascinating, and it was quite fun doing the research to do the video for you. Enjoy.
So, do you want to watch the Avengers?
Why not?
Where's Captain America?
Color now allowed TV to transmit reality more effectively. The RCA cameras for color have 3 image orthicon tubes, otherwise known as the orth tube. One for each primary color, red, green, and blue, making them larger than a standard camera. The tubes had a lifespan of 500 hours and cost $1,200. Light is separated into primary colors by the way of color filters and reflective mirrors to the corresponding tube. Each tube sends a signal to a monitor in the control room, which is adjusted and regulated before merging it in the color plexer encoder for transmission. The only picture information transmitted while doing a black and white transmission is brightness. This brightness signal is called the Y signal. Why, you ask, is that important? Well, we carried that over into color. The detail of color following into blue, green, and red regions can only be detected in a certain amount of color detail, and the eye detects it best in orange and cyan colors. So besides having a RY signal, a GY signal, and a BY signal, we now add the I and Q signals to get the orange and cyan. So you may ask, that covers the camera end. How about the television end? How does that work? On the receiver end, you have a tri-gun picture tube or single gun. These tubes had a phosphorus screen which contained colored dots for the colors or strips of the primary colors. So then the color gun separates the colors and will aim those colors specifically to the dots for the given colors. Well, this gives us a very quick, rounded bit of information on color television. For those of us that remember that, television actually ended at midnight and didn't start until 7 or 8 in the morning. So you would just have a color bar signal for most of the night, and then they would start with the national anthem and the flag in the morning. So signing off, this is it broke, is it fixable, or just plain durable? And this concludes our broadcast day. Our holiday episode was on Edison Records, which I conveniently have a new stock of here. I always loved the mystery disc. However, in playing this one the other night, you gotta watch for bubbles. The diamond stylus don't like that. Or heavy scratches. So tell us what you think of this clip. You have to crank the old Edison up because it's basically got a giant clock spring motor in there. Then we come over here, we adjust it to where the disc starts, and then we flick the on lever and lower it down. It has a worm gear that keeps moving it inward.
Well, thank the Lord, I'm on Terry Cuddy once again. But guys, I've got one arm in a sling, 1 foot in a tub of arnica, and a sort of you want no better feeling in my conscience. And Nancy just told me I'm a bigger fool than Thompson's coat, and he swum a river to get a drink. While we've just had our annual 4th of July celebration, and it was a great affair. We had the Pumpkin Center Silver Cornet Brass Band, and High Atkins was marshal of the parade, riding on Lige Willett's spotted horse, what he got when the circus busted here. We had all the best-looking gals in Pumpkin Center dressed up to represent the different states and talk about real estate sharks. Gosh, there was fellers there just wishing for a whole state all to themselves. Well, we got Shy out, and then Hank Weaver, Abe Crosby, and me went to fire the national salute. We didn't have any cannon, so we used a couple of anvils. Well, we didn't have any powder, so we got some dynamite, what was over in the stone quarry. So we loaded up the anvils and tried to touch them off when Hank remembered that you have to explode dynamite by discussion. So we stood off and throwed stones.
Our next video was the Kutztown show. We hope you thoroughly enjoyed the interviews, the interaction with others, and a completely different aspect of the program. Here's another look.
I'm from Cleveland, Lawrence Bolcher, and I love this show. Despite rain or shine, and I belong part of the Michigan club, and I enjoy the Pittsburgh show too. That one's very good, and we're having a good time today.
I work for a 7-station broadcast company in upstate New York. I do mornings on the Adult Contemporary, and I'm production director for the band. So a lot of fun.
Nice.
Here I've been only there when I came twice already in the past 5 years.
Nice.
But I have a big collection I'm trying to downsize right now. So hopefully I continue downsizing.
That's the adapter kit for this set here, which is a TV4. Right? And the TV4 has all of the tools and accessories in it. This one does. And I see I left the flashlight on again.
Closer to the evening, there's always an auction for those who want a chance to win something that may not have been available outdoors, or for those who suddenly want to see these old machines get a new home. Some people come simply because they want to see what machines are being auctioned off. It mostly consisted of vintage radios and TVs, but there was other stuff as well. Burkett was also one of the first people to win something at the auction, another huge success. I'm going to play an edited together clip of the auction.
That's a funky looking Hitachi. How about $20 to go? Here, $20 where, $20 where? How about 10 I have now, 12 and a half, 12 and a half now, 15, 17 and a half now, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. I'm at 17 and a half looking for 20, 20, 20, all in, all done. Sold it, 17 and a half, your way, number 109.
We got a rough Kenwood TS52, TS520S, rough TS520S.
All right, we got a Kenwood. It's got a lot of class, all of it low. How about $50 to go? $50 where? $50 where? How about 25, 25, 25, 10, 10, 10, 10 I have now, 12 and a half. In the back now, 15, 17 and a half now, 20, 20, 20, 20, 2 and a half, 25, 27 and a half, 27 and a half, all the way in the back, now 30, now 32 and a half, now 35, 35, 35, 35. All in, all done. Sold it, 32 and a half, number 104.
We got a Semcor capacitor tester. Looks like a copy of a Telemic.
Oh, nice. Nice capacitor tester. How about 5 to go? 5 where? I got 5 everywhere. 5 up front. 7 and a half in the back now. 10, 12 and a half. 15, 17 and a half. 20, 2 and a half. 25, 27 and a half. 27 and a half. 27 and a half. 27 and a half. Sold it. $25, number 109.
I'd say turnout was pretty good this weekend. I made about $30-some, and you made $400. How do you feel about that?
I'm ecstatic about it. Can't believe I made $400. I came just expecting to make what I would make and thinking for low numbers. They say that the turnout and what people want every year changes, so you might bring something one year and not bring it, and then someone would ask for it the next year.
It's been a long time since I watched a Hunt for Red October. Who doesn't want to watch that on Laserdisc? It really was ahead of its time. Digital with analog sound, but look at the size of these things. They really were something. Though they still have quite a cult following, and the quality still can't be beat. How about that Star Wars Definitive Collection? Let's have another look. Pioneer tried to keep things going by producing DVD Laserdisc combos. Their last units were made DVD and Laserdisc combos and were released in 2009. It was a pioneer of optical media, laying the groundwork, as we said, for DVDs and Blu-ray. It offered superior sound and image quality compared to VHS, though VHS will always hold a soft spot in the lives of us that grew up with it. It also had features like commentary tracks and special editions that are common today but weren't common back then. The foundation for Laserdisc was laid in the 60s with the development of the optical video recording technology. Try saying that 10 times. The first US title released in 1978 was the mega hit blockbuster Steven Spielberg's Jaws. The picture and sound improvement was immediately apparent when compared to videotape formats common at the time. NTSC discs, which is the format we use here in the USA, could also carry multiple soundtracks, which means you could have the regular soundtrack
And you could also have another soundtrack which was playing the commentary, which explains why we have an audio out 1 and an audio out 2. The early to mid 90s were probably the golden age of this format. Speaking of the 90s, this particular model over here was a promotional model that schools had. And they tried to promote it as this is going to be the new and upcoming fancy format. Well, we see where that fell. So this is more of an industrial model player. And look at the size of the remote on this thing and how thick it is. My, how things have changed. Well, that about makes it a wrap for this episode. Why don't we end with some snippets on AM stereo 16mm and 35mm film strips. Many thanks to Mr. Lombard, who was our audio-visual teacher in high school, for teaching me how to splice film. So, as you can see, you have plates here. You have this thing. This here acts to roughen the film up, which I will show you. So we lift open both compartments. You put the film on there. You want to make sure that you have a straight, flush cut. So that's why we open the compartment, and then we push that one down through there, and then that gives us a straight cut. So then we close that. You want to make sure that the film overlaps. I'm not used to doing this in reverse. So we take this and you roughen the film up a bit. And then you get out your film cement, brush the film cement like so on the film, and push down. Unfortunately, this one didn't stick because of not using the sandpaper. Roughing it up with this doesn't always do good enough of a job. So we will try again. What we're doing is making the film slightly abrasive so that the glue will stick. And then let's give it a check. Haha, yay! It worked! So, in a little bit, we'll put this in the projector and we'll see if our job works or not. There is sound to this film, but the exciter lamp that runs the sound is finicky on this projector. However, we can see that our splice has worked. We're going to do a small sample of what regular AM sounds like and what stereo AM sounds like.
Let's go, girls.
So that is regular AM, and this is stereo AM.
AM stereo.
Let's go, girls.
think that about does it for here on our end for this episode. Coming to you soon will be this particular adventure. That's going to be fun. Thanks for watching.